Hey guys, it is time to talk about what I ended up finishing out the month of May reading. Hey guys, if you are new, welcome to The Book Path. I'm Nicole, and if this isn't your first rodeo, thanks for sticking around. So we already did a video a few weeks ago now, talking about what I read at the beginning of the month, primarily for the Final Book Support Group Round 12. This video is going to kind of cover what I read or attempted to read afterwards, and we'll kind of go over what kind of happened. So after Final Book Support Group was done, we still had like one or two books that I did not get to for the actual Final Book Support Group readathon, but I wasn't going to give up on them because I did also want to use them for the other readathons I was in. And the first one up was The House of War and Bone, and I'm trying to keep everything from falling right now. It's The House of War and Bone by Leah Stone. This is book 2 in her series, and for the life of me, it's escaping me which series this is. This was one of the ones that I did not get to during Final Book Support Group, but I still wanted to finish for the Magical Readathon and Escape the Readathon events. So I ended up picking up, this is book 2 in Leah Stone's series, and this is the continuation of Fallon Bane, who can't be touched by anybody because it gives her excruciating pain. It's a curse that she bears in this world where you have some people that have magic, other people who don't have magic, and kind of the classist setup of this this kingdom, if you will. And as she's going on, she finds out that there is this one young wizard who is a healer named Arian, and he actually can touch her. You also find out that Arian is like heir to the throne of the empire, and Arian wants nothing to do with her due to stuff Fallon literally had no idea over and no control over, being her being raised as a foundling or an orphan. This involved the family that she never knew. So you get more information on that in the first book and then again in this book, and you're finding out what kind of her destiny, or what her destiny kind of is in this book. And so far it's not going to shape out to be a good looking destiny, so I'm hoping that in the next book she's going to find a way around it, because I do kind of like her, and this is a very kind of interesting story, and this part is involving kind of a special aspect of like an underworld. So that was very interesting to see, and kind of how the Death character or the Reaper character is involved in this world. And I still love, I can't remember the Raven or the Crow's name, but I love the Talking Crow, her little sidekick, because he's just got, every once in a while he has just little quips and everything, but he's actually really sweet. So I do really enjoy this. This is a YA kind of fantasy. Leans towards romance because there's a romance element to it. Not spicy, obviously, because of the YA. I know there are some YAs that are very spicy, and they tend to lean more towards new adult for me. But I do recommend this. I ended up giving this one 4 out of 5 stars. It's really good. It lacks a little something, and I don't know if it's just because it's YA that pulls me in more. But I am really enjoying the storyline. So this one was supposed to be my Final Book Support Group continuation station read. So even though it's late, it did get completed. This was also my March book. We were playing a little catch up with the Magical Readathon. This was my March selection for a book that was not first in the series, but it wasn't last in the series. This is book 2, so neither first nor last. And then this one was for the Escape the Readathon for the Snack Squad team, but I don't remember which prompt it was for, and I'll explain why. I might not remember a lot with that readathon in a bit, but so I did get this one finished and 4 stars, and I will still be continuing the series. Next up was our latest and greatest pick in the Cocky Hero Club kind of book series, if you will. And this one was Playboy Pilot by Penelope Ward and V. Keelan. And I think this is the one that, like, this is the fourth or the fifth book that they've teamed up for to write, and then it goes to a bunch of other authors that kind of join in. But this one is it Penelope? I always get them confused. Penelope Ward or Penelope Douglas and V. Keeland. I can't remember which one it is. The icon will be here, so that will correct whatever I said. This one, sadly, I ended up DNFing. I DNF'd it pretty early on. Right away, the main character just got under my skin, and the love interest guy, his responses to her, just no. And it got under my skin in such a way that I needed to actually go to other people's reviews and see what they were saying, because I needed to know if there was going to be a point of redemption for this main character. And while they said that the love interest was very sweet or great, there seemed to be no real redemption for the main character, or that other people also shared my thoughts about her, where she is a very rich kind of socialite young woman, and apparently, because I didn't get this far, there was something to do with an inheritance and questions, and she's kind of running from that. But like I said, I didn't even get that far, because in the beginning, when she gets water splashed on her shirt and she's complaining about her drink getting, something got splashed on her shirt, she's complaining about that, the attitude that she had, the things that she had, and then how she starts talking about her perky boobs right away, and it just, no, it was not, that was like, this character, no. So with finding out that it doesn't seem like her character really matured or, changed at all through the reviews that I read, I was just like, I can't go through and wish this person a happy ending. I'm sorry, but it's true. So I ended up DNFing. I think this was the first book so far in the Cocky Hero Club that I DNF'd. And I'm kind of sad, because it seems like the first like 2 or 3 books were fantastic. And now we're starting to get this nosedive, if you will, of no. So we'll see if I think it's the last book that these authors wrote together. I think it's Mr. Moneybags. I'm set to read for that for June. Hopefully there is redemption in that one. I am so I'm like, praying, please let that one be good. But that one was supposed to be for the Good Fortune prompt for the Escape the Readathon. I don't know if DNFs counts, because I didn't really add the pages, because there really wasn't that many pages to add. But moving on, we ended up going for our Escape the Readathon challenge. This was supposed to be for one of the building prompts, but we got sucked into a game to escape that building, and that game was the Ring Toss Challenge. I can't remember a lot of the prompts for it, but this book ended up fitting the prompt, and so I just finished it out, and that was Punk 57 by Penelope Douglas. So I'm thinking this one's Penelope Douglas, and I'm thinking the Playboy pilot was Penelope Ward. Hopefully I'm correct on that. I mean, you guys will know because you're watching everything now. But this one, there is no lie. When I read the introduction kind of written by the author and why she wrote this book, and she said she wanted to kind of go back to these angsty teen roots, achieved, absolutely achieved. This book is teen angst to the nth degree, and it's very toxic kind of angst. There is a lot of triggers. So if you get triggered by things like bullying, addiction, death, there is spice in this. I would classify this more as an older teen to new adult book, but it was good for what it needed to be. Obviously the angst and some of the choices they were making were annoying me to high end, and I think that's just because I'm an older audience now reading it. So a lot of teen stuff that, like, once again, I always say this with a lot of the teen drama in the books, for young adults and teens, I'm sure it is the world-ending, life-shattering drama that they are going through, and it's very important to them and their building and their world. So I don't doubt that. However, as an older adult and you see this happening, It's one of those ones that you scratch your head at as I'm scratching my head, and you just kind of think, no, like this is just, but the character development is really well done in here. I did like some of the side characters more than the two characters, Misha and Ryan, where you have Misha's the guy who he suffers family loss and he's trying to figure some stuff out. And he and Ryan have been pen pals since I think it's like the fifth grade. And they got mixed up together because they were thought to be both boys and Ryan's actually a girl. And so they write back and forth, but they never allow each other to check each other's social media or anything like that. This is like a blank slate, if you will, for both of them, so they can kind of be whoever they truly want to be with one another. They obviously grow up kind of falling for each other in the persona of their letters, for Misha to discover that Ryan is not all that she seems to be. There's a little bit of stuff going on with her, reasons why she acts the way she does, and he ends up kind of not liking it and sort of bullies her about it, and she kind of bullies other people. And like I said, there's a lot of bullying in this. There's a little bit of mystery in it, and some rather disgusting characters, but like I said, I think it is a worthwhile read. I ended up giving it 4 out of 5 stars. It was well done for the purpose of being an angsty teen mystery romance kind of book. So I do recommend it for that. I just recommend that, you're not triggered by bullying, because that is a very heavy topic in here. It is kind of one of the main things. And there is kind of a male character who, let's just say he doesn't handle women well. We'll go with that. But it was, like I said, it was interesting, in the relationship that does kind of happen and foster between them is very interesting. I wasn't a huge fan of the epilogue. I mean, I got it. I got why you kind of needed to have it. And it was cute for what it was, but it just kind of felt like, okay, here's the kind of happy ending for what has been an incredibly angsty novel. But like I said, 4 out of 5 stars. I do recommend it. I can see why it is kind of a favorite. So finish that one. So next up was The Three Body Problem by Cixin Liu. Once again, hoping I pronounced that right. This one was supposed to be, I can't remember if it was in Final Books. No, it was not. This one was supposed to be my third and final book for the Asian Readathon. This one was for the Timeless. Prompt was to read a book that either dealt with aspects of time, or that you felt that was going to be a timeless read or classic or something of that nature. I ended up DNFing it, not because it was bad. Okay, I'm going to preface that. It wasn't bad. For me, it's just, I'm not really a sci-fi reader, and this book was starting to go very sci-fi. It was also very heavy political. And while I did enjoy the aspect of the political history of kind of post-World War II China, and kind of the war of thoughts that was going on at that time, I did enjoy learning about that. It was just kind of a lot, and it didn't feel very emotive to me. The characters didn't have much emotion, and it just wasn't pulling me into where I started feeling like I was reading more of a textbook on things than anything else. And it was taking me days to get through like 10 pages. Like, it was just taking me so long to get through it that I knew that if I kept trying to go after it, I wasn't going to be able to like really read anything else that I kind of wanted to read. So I did end up DNFing it. I plan on watching the series to see if that kind of maybe sparks my interest again into it, because the plot does seem interesting. And I did read some reviews that say, while it is a good book, there are a few flaws relating to the characters as far as like my thing of emotion. And so that's kind of my debacle, if you will, to use that word, is I don't know how I'm going to feel, because I do pick characters that I gravitate for and root for, and that's kind of what tends to pull me through stories in a lot of cases. And if I can't find that, it's very hard for me to stay in a book, especially one that's so outside my normal scope. So we'll see how it goes. I might pick it up in the future. I'm not promising that at all. So for right now, I'm considering it a DNF. I did end up giving my copy away and giving it to somebody who um, might enjoy it a little bit better than I will. So we will see how that goes. But that was supposed to be for the Asian Readathon. So I didn't fully complete the Asian Readathon if you're not counting DNFs, because yeah, that was my final book for it. But like I said, I didn't think it was bad. I think it was kind of well done, but it just wasn't jiving with me at that point. So I did end up picking up my last book, and that one was Assistant to the Villain by Hannah Nicole Mayer. This one I've had, I think since last August, because I pre-ordered it and I just hadn't gotten around to reading it, and I wanted to because it kept getting described to me as Once Upon a Time meets The Office, and I love Once Upon a Time, and I have seen a few episodes of The Office, so I kind of understand where they were going from with this. That was achieved. I do get it. But I want to add something into the mix there, and I want to add an element of Bridget Jones' Diary, which I love. And that is because you have the main character, Evie Sage, who is looking for a job in this kind of fairy tale world. And she ends up not having a job. She needs to support her ailing father and her little sister. And she's walking through the woods, and she comes across a character known as the Villain. And he ends up hiring her, and he's not really the villain that you think he is. And he lives in this big like castle fortress, and it's run like an office. There are people there. There are these little pixie fairies who use a magical ink to make copies like a copy machine. And it was fun, the little antics of this kind of magical office, if you will, all set among this kind of war where the villain is at war with the king and kind of what they're going on. It is the first in a series. I thought this was going to be a standalone, and I'm kind of happy it's not, because as I was making my way through the story, I was like, how are they going to wrap this up? And it has a very fun and interesting little ending. My favorite, I do like the main two characters, but I really loved, once again, you're gonna know because I love the little animals that they put in these. There is a frog that wears a crown, and it carries like a little board around its neck so it can write out, like, to talk with you. And I think its name's Kingsley, but it is like the cutest, like, I've never seen it, obviously it's a fake, little animal, but it's just like the cutest, funniest little thing, because the little one word answers that it will show to like the villain in particular are like just these little quips to whatever the villain is experiencing, and like the little sarcasm that comes along with it was just a lot of fun. The characters are kind of interesting in it too. Not very much, triggering beyond this is a fairy tale fantasy novel of a villain versus, the king. A little bit of a shocker twist at how things kind of unravel. But like I said, it is very much, I think the element of Once Upon a Time in this is the fact that it is a fairy tale world. You don't get characters like Rumpelstiltskin or anything by name. It's just a fairy tale world where people have magic. There is a villain. There are pixies. There are dragons. There are some magical creatures. But the fact that they equate it to The Office and kind of the antics from The Office show, yes, you do get some of that, because just the weird random stuff that kind of happens. And then, like I said, I put Bridget Jones in here because Evie, our main character, is a little awkward and hazard prone, and just some of the situations that happen to her are funny. Her personality I loved. I felt very much like it was me in book form, because just the little wit that she has and the sarcastic comebacks that she has to the villain, all while trying to be this kind of like sunshiny character. I might not be as sunshiny, but like I appreciate it in her. She does it without being like kind of annoying. So I really did enjoy this. I ended up giving this one 4 out of 5 stars, because it did have a little something more that I was looking for. And it's probably just like the relationship the romance between the villain and Evie and how it was going to play out, and the near misses were getting annoying. Like I wanted just a little bit. So maybe that's what it was. But I do recommend it. If you're looking for just some giggles and some fun and just like lightheartedness, then this is definitely a book that you should pick up. I think it's a great summer read because, like I said, it's just kind of got that lightness to it and that humor to it that just, it's fun. It's a fun read. So I ended up reading this one for the Magical Readathon, the Year in Aurelium Challenge. This one was for, was it May or April? It was one of the catch-ups I was getting into, which was to read a book that had multiple A's and S's on it. And of course, there are multiple A's and S's in the title. So we went with this one. And then this one was used in Escape the Readathon, but for the life of me, I can't remember how I used it because I sucked at note-taking this month. So yeah, that I ended up finishing for that. So that was kind of, like I said, I sort of finished Final Book Support Group, save for one book, because I was slated to read An Ember in the Ashes, and I did start it. I just didn't get a chance to finish it, so I don't know if I'm going to go back to it in June after I've kind of read everything else for June. It's not bad. It's shaping up to be sort of interesting. I'm still too early in to really make a call on that, but I did start it, just never finished it, and it's not a DNF yet, so we will be continuing in that book at some point. The Asian Readathon, obviously, it depends on if you want to count the DNF or not for Three Body Problem, on whether or not I completed that challenge. I did finish, I think it was The Dragon's Promise, and actually, no, I did not. So I did not finish Asian Readathon as well because while I did finish The Dragon's Promise and I did DNF, Three Body Problem, Ember in the Ashes was also the third book in that one as well. So now that I'm thinking about it, I didn't finish that one as well. I was attempting it because I did start it, just didn't finish it. And I think a lot of that had to do with the whirlwind of Escape the Readathon. This was my first time doing Escape the Readathon, and it was fun. It's definitely an immersive readathon where you are in contact with your teams. I know that I've been in other readathons where you choose a team or you're in the readathon, but you're really kind of doing it on your own and then just kind of reporting back in. That is not the Escape the Readathon. The Escape the Readathon is very involved, where you need to pay attention kind of to what's going on, because the prompts kind of change in a way that your team is reading all these things to basically escape these buildings. So you have your building prompts and then you have your game prompts, and you don't know what your game prompts are until you're getting ready to escape the building at the whim of the game master, as it were. And so I had my T.B.R. set aside for what I planned on reading, and it ended up shifting and twisting around so much because by the time I started a book for a building, we had completed that building, or we completed a different building, because not everybody was working on the same buildings at the same time. And then we started to kind of hone in and work on some of the buildings. We would pick like one or two buildings, but the pacing is different for every reader. So sometimes the building would get completed and I'm not done with my book, or you get thrust into one of these games and the prompt that you're reading for might not be the prompt that you need for the game. So it was very much a whirlwind, kind of like messed with my head. And I mean that in a good way. Like, I don't want to come down on the readathon because it was very interesting, it was very fun, and it was very good. And I think that the people who helped put this together did a phenomenal job. I loved the little videos for the game challenges. They were just a delight and funny. But I think for me, it got to be a lot to handle because I had my set T.B.R. and I had, thicker books for it. And I was also trying to read these books for other readathons. And so I wasn't able to just switch up my books right away and, or read through them as completely as I wanted to. And aside from this, it was my kids' last month of school. So there were a lot of events that we were trying to get through, little graduation ceremonies and things like that, that we had to be available for. So I wasn't able to kind of just sit down and bunker down outside of like the final book support group weekend to really get through some things. And I think that that definitely, you know, costs me some confusion, and the ability to kind of really do more than I want, you know, more that I wanted to do for the teams in Escape the Readathon. As of right now, I don't know who escaped. I know that there was another team, I think it was the Game Masters, that did escape, but we were all fighting to pull them back in, as kind of, I guess, a revenge scheme, if you will. I don't know what happened. I will update you guys once I find that out. I'll probably put that in the community part, to give you a heads up. I did have fun with it, even though it just kind of like was very fast paced and got confusing. I did have a lot of fun. I would like to try it again, but I think I want to try the Escape the Readathon when I don't have other readathons that I'm going to, and I can kind of, I won't pick a TBR for it, and I'll just kind of go as the team goes, like whatever building, like if it's a building to escape a building or whatever. I know that the creator, Lexi, she changes kind of the context and the theme for each readathon. But if it were something like that, I'd want to probably choose more novellas that I could read through really quickly to just kind of hit the prompts that needed to be hit as they needed to, you know, be taken care of, and switch things a little bit more quickly with that, and then still be able to go back to the other ones because they'd be much thinner books. So a little bit more of kind of, I guess, being a creative planner with it. But I did have fun with it, so we will find out what happens there. But if stuff stays the same, then no, we did not escape, and we are now stuck in the carnival to, you know, moo ha ha ha, evil laughter wherever we get stuck in here. It'll be interesting. But I did have fun. It was a very interesting reading month, and just kind of like a fog to me that it went through. So with that being said, we look forward to June. June is going to be a little bit lighter because we don't really have much of a TBR. I mean, we do, but it is more of a catch up, not any themed for, you know, not needed prompts for readathons or anything. This is more just catch up, and then what you guys picked. So if you haven't checked that video out, please do so. I am grateful for you guys for kind of picking the route to go towards the end once I finished what I've needed to. That was kind of fun, and we will see how it goes. So hope you guys are doing well. Hope you guys are enjoying the beginnings of your summer. Hopefully the temperatures are mild, but stay safe, stay hydrated, and take care. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.